So, that is what happens when you decide to go to a natural area for your camping. And it's not even dirtier because we've since this passed a couple potholes full of water. Oh dear, I don't know how we didn't get stuck. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for the suspension, which I put on high, we would be stuck. And yes, it was searching for traction 4 or 5 times, and I thought I would really be fine. That looks terrible, that mat. It's gonna have to be cleaned. Apart from that, it seems to have survived. I would rather have done this after breakfast, but we're gonna take care of that in 13 minutes or so. Good morning. Managing to get out of the outskirts of Utrecht was not that easy because where we were, I think it was Beethoven, I'm not sure. It's not a case of just driving and then you have a light and you turn left once and then you turn right. It's a little bit more intricate than that. You have to switch lanes quickly, and since I'm not from here, I probably didn't sleep that well. Even if Google Maps was sort of telling me that, I wasn't managing to do that. So I got into room 2 or 3 times. I did like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to entire time for traffic. But here we are. We're already out of the ring, and now I just have to drive like 65 kilometers straight in this motorway at a boring 100 kilometers per hour because it's not raining, but it's day. And same rules I told you about before still apply. You can only do 120 after 7 in the evening, I think. Car's still doing well. I was a bit scared for my tires or for my sump, actually, but no, I didn't actually hit anything while trying to get out of that place full of mud. That road was really bad. I should have stopped earlier, but thankfully nothing bad came from it. And it's as comfy, as sure-footed as ever. I mean, sure, it's a bit noisier than it should be. Actually, in terms of wind noise coming from the rubbers here, these areas, you don't really get it in this car. For the time, and given this is still general manufacturer, not premium, I think it's quite good. I imagine what this car could be if I soundproof it, like I did the Roadtrip, but I shouldn't get any ideas. Another thing that I like in this car is that it's still from a time in which manufacturers really... Okay, interesting. very cool to be able to regulate the intermittent setting, which I don't have in the Rover. Or if I do, I've never actually managed to make it work, because you can get them to wipe just according to the amount of rain. In the Rover sometimes I feel it's a little too much the first setting. With Charleston colors from the 2CD. Anyway, we have left Maastricht 5 or 10 minutes ago, and of course we are almost at the border with Belgium. Actually, as you can see, this will be the route from Maastricht to Brussels, which passes Lac, which of course is Liège in French. And the border should be precisely here. Good morning. We're trying to get out of Liège now. I just wanted to show you a little bit of the difference from Maastricht to Liège, which of course is a lot more cars, doesn't have a system, public transport system that works as well apparently, or if it has, a lot of people still use cars. And mostly it seems to be a city that is currently an open air construction site. A lot is happening at the moment, for example a new tram in the city center, I think. And apart from that, yeah, the state of a lot of roads is not the best really. I was saying that this car was floating particularly well in the last miles, but I forgot I was in the Netherlands, which of course makes it easier than here. Still doing well, but I mean, there are no miracles when the route is not that well kept. And here it's the sort of terrain where I don't think that this sort of suspension actually makes any sort of miracles in this car. It already has McPherson suspension at the front, not the wishbones. It's sort of a heavy car, and with sudden potholes and that sort of stuff, you can feel it a little bit. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. It's still pleasant to drive around here. I mean, it's a bit out of its depth, but that works. I think it was here, so let me just go around the roundabout again. Yeah, you can feel it's a heavy thing doing this sort of stuff, even if it does it well. And off we go. And that's basically it. Liège is a city that is interesting in terms of the facades and the style of the monuments and all that, but yeah, it looks a little bit like a work in progress. A little bit, being an euphemism maybe. And off you go now. river soon, which will be nice. I hope it's in better shape than this one. Because, as you've seen, the roads around here in Bologna are not very good. I think I've already said this, but yeah. Actually, this one, from Namur to Dinant, we're already doing the first miles, but it's decent. But there are a lot of roads that, yeah, it seems they've tried to just fill the holes time and time again, and clearly it didn't work. Either way, good morning. Namur is really close to Dinant, so we're already at just 17 minutes of Dinant. It was the city where Adolf Sax was born, the guy that gave us the saxophone. Something that you really didn't need to know, but we'll definitely use at dinner parties. Yeah, that's basically it. After Dinant, we just go on our way to Reims in France, and I definitely intend to stop at that street in the middle of the National Route, where they used to have the Grand Prix. That's as good as it's gonna get from this sort of wash. Yeah, that was not exactly cheap. That's the river. And now it's gone again. On the motorway. I don't think there are a lot of 130 km/h motorways where we are going. I'm not entirely sure. Oh look, we can do 110 now. Here we go. I mean, we will go when this fine Belgian driver decides that he wants to overtake Glory. He did. Thank you, monsieur. Until we reach our next destination, which is the Conservatory Citroën. That's gonna be really interesting to visit the Conservatory. I don't think they have a lot of exams there, but they have a lot of other interesting things, such as even a prototype for the Zara Picasso and maybe for the C3. I'm not sure. And of course they have older stuff than that, which is really cool. Since we entered France, the weather has improved. That's a good thing. We're already getting a bit tired of the rain and the cold. I have checked the oil yesterday. It used a little bit. That doesn't alarm me. I think that's okay. Apart from that, everything's going well. Didn't use coolant. Coolant is the right core, still starts as it should. that little thing that indicates didn't really move. So everything's okay. The car is still very good at soaking up irregularities on the road. As I said, with bigger potholes and that sort of stuff, it's now better because of the new tires, and probably because the LHM has circulated for many hundreds of miles through the system, and it's working well, although it's not perfect. I'm really curious to drive a GS or a CX, for example, in order to compare, because these have double H1 suspension at the front. That should make a difference. But yeah, overall, very pleasant ride at the moment, the way things are. And I can't have 3 cars at home, but if it wasn't for that, I might consider keeping this one. From the Citroën Conservatory to Versailles, we forgot a small detail. There is a big low emission zone, and this car can't go in it. Google Maps really isn't giving us a route that takes that into account, so we just had to put 4 or 5 different stopping points. Wait, okay. 4 or 5 stopping points in the map in order to go around the low emission zone, which made it a lot slower, and we're gonna get there just without time to do anything else. This is not so bad now, but we've been stopped in traffic jam for 10 minutes probably, in what is really a bad area around Paris in terms of public transportation, because all I've seen was cars. But of course it's the outskirts, and it's really dreadful. It's terrible for the fuel consumption, terrible for my clutch, but yeah, we'll just get this over with. After a terrible drive to Versailles and a whopping 20 euros in parking, because we didn't have the time to find a more suitable option, and one that was further away, of course, we would have to walk. We're now trying to get out of Versailles at 6 in the evening, which is going to be fun. All the traffic is not that bad actually, and in the rain. But yeah, everything should go well. And we should head to Aulnay now, which is 2 hours of driving. I actually like to drive when it's rainy, and these wiper blades actually work pretty well. They are not perfect, they don't clean that well over here, but it's not a trouble. There's a little bit over here because it goes at an angle that doesn't get swept, but that's fine. They actually clean well where they go, and they are not noisy, which is important. Thankfully we also have working ventilation. We are not freezing here, so yeah, it's a pleasant car to drive in the rain. Things that are not so good: this car doesn't really like city driving. Things were apparently going pretty well mileage wise. Once we entered the city and had to stop at every stoplight in the world, it really went down the drain. We have now spent more or less 50 liters, and we've done 545 kilometers, which is around almost 10 liters per 100 kilometers, maybe 9.5, which is not really good, but we will try to make it better once again on the open road. And it's reasonably open at the moment. see if it keeps that way. Really happy to be sat here after hours visiting the chateau of Versailles and the gardens, because it was tiring. These seats are really good. Yeah, it seems the rain is following us south as we go to Aulnay. I understand now why it's taking so long to do not many miles actually. It's because this time we didn't really catch any sort of autoroute in which you can do 110 kilometers an hour. Although some people are trying to do that, as you're probably seeing right now. Just gonna say that I think we've already done something like 3,500 kilometers, and yeah, it's going really well. Really confident at this point, although not too confident. It's still a long way to go, and it's an old car, and it's still a car even if it was old, so things happen. And things happen on the road too. But yeah, and I'm well impressed with the car. I wasn't as much when we got out of Portugal, but after all these miles and after the new tires and just using it in such an intense way in such a short period of time, it's been good. The guy is responding well to that, and yeah, it's doing really well. And that's basically it. We are really tired from going to the Citroën Conservatory, and more than that, that was the tiring bit. All the driving to the Chateau of Versailles, and then just wandering through the gardens, which are huge, and I really don't have much to add. And even for dinner, we might just grab something from the supermarkets and salad or something, and just go straight to our Airbnb. We won't be arriving early. We'll be arriving at like 8:30. So, by the way, there's an XM at this garage. Also Peugeot 605, I think. Very nice.